Month or so. Hey, what's up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery podcast. And today, my friends, we're with a somebody I've known for a while. Chaz Wilson. Man, Chaz, you and I met a long time ago through John Alexandrov.
Yeah, a long time ago.
It's been
I don't even. I was trying to think what
12
year.
years.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, probably 12 years ago, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. And we ran into each other at an event out in Dallas, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago now. And we reconnected, and it's been awesome, man. It's been good to reconnect with you again.
Yeah, likewise. It's just been amazing to see your growth, and I love the path to mastery. I mean, that's the game we're all in, right? So I love that that's what you've continued down, and that you're still trying to not only do it yourself but help others on that path.
Amen. And so Chaz, today we're going to talk about networking.
Yeah.
We're going to talk specifically about your network, which is called Master Networks, which I have now. We're launching a local chapter here in Massachusetts, which is exciting. And it's growing, and we're excited to continue once we launch our first one, continue launching these chapters. So that's super exciting. And so I want to talk to you about that today. And we've got some people listening in with us on Clubhouse and also on Facebook and YouTube, and we're just streaming everywhere. So if anybody has questions or anything, use the comments, and we'd love to, at the end, we'll open it up for some questions from you guys. All right. So thank you for being here. All right. So Chaz, let's jump right into it, my man. Master Networks. What is it? Talk to us about it.
Yeah, I mean, let me jump back to actually how we started, why we started it, because I think
that's probably a better question, right?
Well, no, it's okay. It's like it kind of sets the whole stage in the context, which is, where you and I met was in the real estate industry, right? I mean, I was in the real estate industry, and what I had really come to understand is that there's a lot of marketing tactics out there, and there's a lot of people say do this, do that, and I felt like I was spinning my wheels. But as I kind of stepped back and looked, one of the things I realized, and still holds true today, is that the most time-tested and least expensive, best way for me to grow my business was through word of mouth. It was through referrals. It was through the connections that I had. And in fact, when I go back to like 2009, 10, the real estate industry, as the market was really changing, especially where I was at, like, it was all those relationships. That's why I could weather the storm. And so I had been part of a networking organization for about 10 years. So I was building a network, but what I had come to understand is that it was very transactional. And I wanted to build a network of people that was very relational. It was built on the connections and going deep and like play the long game. And so honestly, I started this networking group in 2011. And strictly to help me grow my real estate business. But because of the culture and because of the things that we added to this, it grew so fast that literally I had to sell my real estate practice, my real estate company, to grow this thing called Master Networks, what it is today. And so that was really it. I knew that, and I think for every business owner listening, no matter what industry you're in, I don't think you're one tactic, one strategy, one marketing thing away from growing your business. I think you're one relationship away from changing everything, one connection, and one introduction to that, and imagine if you could stack 10 or 12 of them. So long answer to your short question, which is Master Networks is just a community of entrepreneurs from all over the world who share core values together, who share a spirit of, again, the path to mastery. That's why it fits so well. We share a common set of values, and that is to help each other grow and be better business people. And we just have done that in an organized way.
So I've been involved in, as you know, the networking groups for a long time. We started a BNI chapter. I don't know if that's the chapter you were involved in.
Yeah, sure.
Before we did that. I mean, I think 20 something years ago, and that thing's still going. I remember working for my mother's company back when I was 19. It's like 30 something years ago now. And I was going to a BNI meeting every week in Shrewsbury Center. And so when I think about Master Networks, I still struggle, because I don't know if it's a struggle. I'm guessing this is pretty common, but for me, when I talk to people about it, that's the only like reference point I really have. Is it's kind of like BNI, right? Is that common? Like, does everybody do that, or is there
well, look, I think initially people say that, but I just think they're nothing like us, right? Like, are there similarities? That'd be like saying, all real estate companies are the same, right? They're not. I
No,
mean,
of
but if
course
you
not.
know one real estate company, you know the other, but there's a lot of differences. And sometimes you don't know till you're under the hood. It's like, all cars are the same. Well, of course they're not. Well, I think if you know what BNI is, right, then you know enough to know what we are, and you have some frame of reference. But when you look at it, there really it's the purpose. There's two outcomes, right? They have an outcome, and again, there's nothing wrong with it. I learned a lot when I was part of it, but
Yeah.
their outcome is referral based, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. But our outcome is two things. One is relationships and education. See, if I can build relationships, and that's the focus, right? When that becomes the core value. See, if the focus is referrals, and there's nothing wrong with that, like, don't get me wrong. But what happens is over time that, let's say you and I are in that kind of an environment and that dries up, then it becomes, what have you done for me lately? Right. And
Mm.
so if we're building a relationship, there's a long play, there's a long term there. And so everything that we do is built around building that relationship. Secondarily, one of the best ways to build relationships is through education. You mentioned at the beginning, hey, we just reconnected at another educational event.
Yeah.
Right. And when you can bond with people over education, like, it's such a bonding experience through education. So we just know if we help you grow your business and we help you build relationships, those referrals come as a byproduct, not the purpose.
Mm. So you, how many members do you have now? Members in chapters?
Members in chapters, it's over 3,000 in 26 states.
In 26 states. Amazing. And typically, who starts these chapters and why do they start these chapters?
Well, generally, I would say, and then I'll get into an industries, but generally, we say they're people of influence and impact, meaning it doesn't, that's the primary reason, right? Meaning these are people who have influence and impact in their community locally. And let me also delineate, there's two types of membership with Master Networks. There's the community, which you don't have to be in a chapter. I mean, we have people in, Australia, England, gosh, we have them from all over the world. They join the community, which is a membership platform that they can connect and do face-to-face meetings and, all the networking. And it's amazing, right? And then the high level, which we call all access, is where you can actually join, a local chapter, a local community of Master Networks. But typically it's people of influence and impact that start a group at all access. But what I would recommend people do is they join the community first, understand it, know it, make the connections, and then go, yeah, this is cool. This is for me. And now I want to start a local group for myself. And a person of impact and influence is the kind of person. Real estate agents are great for that. Insurance agents, people who do network marketing, chiropractors are awesome to start groups typically. And again, I'm making generalized statements,
Yeah.
generalized statements, but
I don't mean to laugh. I'm like chasing this chiropractor right now. And I just finally said today, listen, if this is my last call to you, like, because she was recommended for our chapter and we don't have one and that she's not responding. So I'm like, all right, I just want to let one last time. This is it. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to go find someone else,
That's why, like, I often tell people to join our community. We offer a 7-day trial. I often say join that because then you get to know, like, you'll find out if somebody's a person of influence and impact. People always say, oh yeah, man, I can start this, I can do this, I know everybody. And then you ask them to invite people to a meeting and nobody, like, I promise you, if you want to know how much influence you have, try holding any kind of an event and invite people to it. That tells you how much influence you might have. Because I hear it all the time. I can fill a room and then, like, they do a thing and like 4 people show, right? I mean,
yeah.
not knocking it. It's just they tend to think they have more influence than they do.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. It's funny. We got our first 9 for the chapter. Now we're all, we got a lot of people in the pipeline, but we're looking for more people. But the interesting thing is, and this, you probably see this too, is we've got all these other, I don't know what you would call them. Is it like a sphere or industries? Like, cause I have like 3 or 4 realtors. Like, I want to do that too. Like, I'd like to start a chapter, right? We have like, the mortgages come, like we have people waiting, but the seat in our group is already taken. So there's nothing we can do for them.
Yeah. Well, so, okay. So that's the thing. Like, That's actually how Master Network started, right? And so we then created, we have two programs. One's called affiliate rewards, and that's for the all access people who want to start a chapter. So you can sponsor people. That was the thing. Like when I was in other organizations and a seat was taken, people would be like, "Sorry, you're out, you lose." And here with Master Networks, like that's the whole thing about relationships. We understand that a chapter is just an organism, an organization that's like part of a bigger thing. So to send people away doesn't make sense. So what we do is we have affiliate rewards, which means I can sponsor you into Master Networks, get an incentive for that, and then help them start a chapter. So we highly encourage, like, don't turn them away. Like, let's help them launch their own chapter because they see the value of it. And that's what happened with us. I started the one for me in real estate, and then same thing. Everyone's like, I want in. I was like, holy smokes, like this might be a thing that it wasn't intended to be. And then it just took off and blew up.
Yeah. I think the people that get it, Chaz, they just get it, right? Like, yeah. and then other people, and then, you know, and this is what I appreciated about certain people, is there's certain people I talk to and they're just like, nope, that's not for me. I'm like, okay, I love that. Like, don't make me chase you around for, 2 months or 3 months. Just be honest. And other people are like, oh my God, I love that. I can't wait to do that, and then they just join right away. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is like, it's the idea that this is a community of entrepreneurs. And I think even the word network now has even sometimes that has a bad taste. You tell people, hey, I'm starting this networking organization. They're like, well, I already know. Like they've already judged it, right? I mean, you said it, which I loved because I have it on camera at our event. You're like, man, this event is different. This thing's different. It feels like a lot of people have said, whether you're religious or not is not the point, but they're like, it's kind of like business church. Like, man, it feels like a different connection. It feels like a different environment. And that just comes with how we framed it. Like how the whole thing is from top to bottom is framed creates sort of a greenhouse to allow those relationships to grow differently than just like, hey man, do you have a referral for me this week?
Yeah.
And it's not bad to get referrals. It's just like, that's not the only reason for us to get together.
Yeah. So well, interestingly enough too, as I've been talking to people about it, that has been one of the sticking points where they'd ask me, and I'd say, well, this is more based on the relationship, and some people resonated with that, what I mean, as opposed to, and again, and I was a fan of BNI, and I'm not saying anything negative about it. Just I think that is one of the main differences. And also, I mean, like what are the most successful groups doing? Like how do the most successful groups operate at that level?
Yeah, I mean, the most successful groups understand that they focus on, number one, weekly at the meetings, they focus on education. Like, and we provide that. That's turnkey. Like we have Master Networks University, we do the weekly training tidbits. We have all of this business training from experts that we put in there that facilitate these discussions. So if you can imagine, you go to this meeting and you're focused on helping each other, and you're like, oh man, this is amazing little tidbit I could take and go apply to my business. See, think about it. If you become a better business person, that's the whole point of mastery. I become a better business person. Now, how much more likely are we to send referrals? Because I know you're getting the same training I'm getting, and you're becoming better and I'm becoming better. So we're more likely to share that. And so the best chapters, they are facilitating our training. They're following the model, and they're trying to get better each and every week. And they're led by great people who are like, look, I don't need to reinvent this. I just need to facilitate the thing that Master Networks puts in front of me, and it'll work. And that's it. Like literally, that's the best chapters are doing that. We have groups that have 70, 80, 100, near 100 people even. So, like just follow the model.
And the other thing I liked about it too is it's Gary who's kind of walking us through the onboarding right now is 1 hour. Like we start on time, we end at time, 1 hour, and that's it for the meeting. And you're in and out.
Yeah, I mean, we realize we can get it done. We don't have to sit around. Now, here's the honest truth, though. The meeting's an hour, but there's people who like, hey, let me meet you 30 minutes before. Let's do what we call a face-to-face meeting. I'll do a face-to-face meeting with you. Then we do our chapter meeting. Then some people stick around. They'll do 2 or 3 face-to-faces afterwards. And they've had a very robust day of networking and connecting. And we use something called the bond method to do that. But that's what we teach. And that's why it becomes more relational and transactional. So yes, technically you only have to go for the 1 hour. And in fact, in a lot of areas in the country, some of those meetings are virtual. So like almost all of our New York chapters are virtual, so they all do them on Zoom. So people from all over the world join. We have a lady in England who's in our New York group. We have a lady from Georgia who's on one of those chapters in New York, and it's 1 hour in and out, done.
Yeah. And the other thing is it's it's only $75 a month, and you guys it's month by month, which is kind of rare,
Yep.
right? Where you're like, I think I heard you say on one of your videos, we don't hold people hostage. If they see the value, they stay. If they don't,
Yeah, we
then they
believe
don't.
in partners, not prisoners. That's typically
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah.
and so like, look, if you want to be part of it, then we want to build a relationship. If you don't see the value of it, it's easy in, easy out. Like it's okay. Now, when I started it almost 12 years ago, our attorneys are like, "Oh, that's foolish to do month to month." Like but it's served us well because we don't hold people to an agreement. If you think about it, if you paid for something for a year, like many other networking organizations, you pay for a year and then you don't like the people that you're with. How do you get out? You're like, I got to stick around for a year because I paid for it. Well, that's not what anyone wants. So that's why we don't do it that way.
Awesome. I want to go back to something you said in the beginning. You talked about influence and impact. What's the difference between those two things?
Well, I think influence and impact are very similar, but I think there's a difference between a person of interest and a person of impact, right? So those are really, to me, the delineating things. So I look for, and I sometimes use impact and influence similarly, but a person of impact and a person of interest. A person of, which by the way is part of my new book I'm writing. So we've been studying this for 2 years. I started writing this book with Dave Jenks, who unfortunately passed away last year, but he and I started writing this book together about this because one of the things we see in business is a person of interest is somebody who's very simply stated, David, is somebody who's like trying to be interesting versus interested. Right. So if I go to a network, I'll put it in an example like this. If I go to a network meeting and I'm trying to be like, hey, everybody, look at how amazing I am. Here's the business I do, et cetera, et cetera. Like we're all turned off by that. But a person of influence and impact, these are people who go in and say, hey, David, tell me about your business. How can I add value to it? I mean, if you've ever walked away from a conversation, you're like, that's kind of guy I want to know. Not the kind of guy that's like, hey, guys, here's what I do. Here's how well I do it. Here's all the accolades. You should do business with me. That's a person of interest. And in fact, there's many marketing techniques that teach you how to be, even on social media, a person of interest. And I would just challenge you. We've done so many studies. It's going to be so cool. We've interviewed some of the most influential people in the world for our book. One of the things we found, if you go to their social media and you look, there's a pretty healthy balance. Every once in a while, they'll say, hey, buy for me, here's how you do it. But most of their social media is about how they're adding value, how they're a person of impact to the world. And I think that's the kind of people that we align with, are people that go, let me make an impact in the world. Let me be more relational than transactional, right? And that's kind of the difference.
I like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So for people listening, right now, and they're like, geez, this thing sounds interesting. How do I know if that's for me? What would you say to those people?
Yeah. Well, first of all, that's why we give people a trial to our community, 7 days to come check it out, jump in and make meaningful connections.
Now, before you continue, can people do that with the chapter too, or is that just with the virtual community?
Just the community, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But again, if you wanted to join a chapter, you can do month to month, so you're in for 1 month.
Yeah, that's true. And you can visit. You can visit a chapter. Yeah,
sure.
That's true. Yeah,
you can certainly visit. So, but there's not chapters in every community. That's why we started the Master Networks community, so you can be online with us anywhere. A mobile app, all that stuff. So here's the thing I would say. Here's who it's for. It's somebody, especially somebody who's starting a business or wanting to grow and scale their business. Because if you're a business owner, you've all heard the phrases. It's lonely at the top, right? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Like it's hard, right? And if you don't have especially if you don't have a partner in your life, or even if you do and they're not part of your business, like you can't go home and dump all the things on them and be like, oh my gosh, let me tell you what sucked today, or how hard it was, or even sometimes try sharing your successes for the day. And people who don't understand, they're like, wait, you're just bragging. Like, you're like, no, you don't understand. I haven't had one all week. Let me relish in my success today. Like people who understand that business is lonely. Number two, people who feel lost in business, meaning like, I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to grow. I would say for any of you that feel like you're lost or you feel lonely of any kind, that would be one group of people that this is for. Number two, maybe you're on the other side. You feel very connected and very successful. And come in the spirit of contribution to help others. Like this is a way to connect with others, give back, and add value to others. It's an amazing community of people that has been going for 12 years strong. So we're not a flash in the pan. Like this is 12 years.
And where do you see this? Where do you see this 5 years from now?
Well, what's really cool is just in April, and you were there when we launched the community, and we have 10, 12, 15 people a day coming into the community. So I see this thing scaling super fast worldwide, not just anymore in the US. And I think this is a community that, look, I've shared this story before, and this is my heart of this, David. I've been in this place. Some people have heard my story where I had $27. I mean, I have 5 children. We'd had our last 2 are twins, and we were at a place where I had $27 in my bank account. And I didn't even know how we could get diapers. And literally I got introduced to one person, and that person changed my world forever. And that was Dave Jenks. I mean, he was that first introduction for me. And I realized that every night somewhere in this country, some business owners sitting at their kitchen table going, man, how do we make payroll? How do we keep the lights on? How do we do this? And I just know that's, first of all, that scenario to me is unacceptable. With all the knowledge we have of how to be successful and all the ability to do it, I don't like that. And I want to change that forever for entrepreneurs. And so we're just building a community, and I think we're going to be a household name. In many locations we are. Like if you start a business in North Texas, you're part of Master Networks. I mean, we have thousands of people here. Florida, Colorado, New York, like there are places where we are like a household name for business owners. And that's where I see this going. We will literally change the landscape and are changing the landscape for business owners.
I love it. We have some people on Clubhouse. If anybody has a question, just raise your hand. We'll bring you up, and you guys are welcome to ask a question. The other thing, Chaz, is there is a unique side as well with the I don't know if you call it revenue share or not, but like for every member that joins,
affiliate rewards.
Yeah, affiliate rewards. Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, so when you join the community level, which again is not a local chapter, that's $75 a month. We'll give you a 7-day trial, and I know you've got a link you can put in there, David, that people can join. Yeah. There's an ambassador program with that, and that allows you to earn rewards as more people join. It's not MLM, none of that, just affiliate program. And then with the all access, when people join chapters, we share $10 of the monthly membership every single month that person's an active member. So, I mean, we have a lady in Michigan who sponsored like 55 people in Master Networks, just doing what she would do anyway. And we just share some of that revenue back with you. That's why we call you guys partners. We believe our members are partners. And in the last 12 years, I mean, we've shared several $1 million back with our members. Again, just saying thank you. It's our way of saying thank you for the referral of sending another member to us.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. And so I'm excited. We're building out a chapter right here in Massachusetts. So if you're in central Massachusetts, I mean, obviously anywhere, feel free to reach out to me. But if you just happen to be in central Massachusetts right now and you're interested in joining our brick and mortar chapter, then by all means, reach out to me. And
for sure.
And also, if you have questions, you can certainly reach out to Chaz as well. And then again, message me, email me. I'm happy to get you connected. And anything, Chaz, I should have. Also, you have a couple books as well. Why don't you tell people about your books? So if people want to check you out, get a copy of your book.
Yeah, I mean, you can hit me up on all social media. I'm not here to, again, I'm talking about Master Networks. I know it feels like total self-promotion. It's not. I just want to serve entrepreneurs. I have nothing really to sell.
Yeah.
I have books. 5+1 is a business book. And then the Person of Impact one we're writing will be out this fall. But if you follow me on social media, there's all kinds of ways you can get that information. But again, my mission in life is to empower entrepreneurs. I think I never want anyone to feel like I did when I had 5 kids and supporting a family and couldn't buy diapers. That's a scary proposition. It's a heavy feeling. And so my mission is to build businesses that support entrepreneurs. So Master Networks is one of my multi companies, but all of them are there to support entrepreneurs. So follow me on social media, Master Networks or Chaz Wilson, CHASWILSON. And I'm just happy to serve, and hit me up with any questions.
Good stuff, man. Do you anything else that I didn't ask that maybe you want to add, or what, did I miss anything?
Yeah, if I could just add one thing. First of all, thank you for that question. I love that. One thing I think that people will start to see further, and I've shared this a few times, David, and I hesitate sometimes sharing it because I don't think everyone quite gets this, and I've got to maybe then do a better job of explaining it. So I think the more I talk about it, at some point it's going to land. But I want people to understand that what you're building is an asset, right? There's three things. There's your mindset, your skill set, and your assets. Obviously, your mindset you can control, you can earn skill sets. But when people look at their business as an asset, they go, okay, it's the thing I've built, the thing I'm selling. But I'll tell you, because I'm in this world of acquiring and all of this kind of stuff, when you're building a Facebook page, this is probably the best way to think about it. When you're building a Facebook page, that's an asset. It's a media asset. And people they go like, oh, I'm only doing it to grow my business. But if you sold your company, you sold your little business, guess what they buy? They buy that Facebook page, and they'd say, look, you've got 10,000 followers, and that's maybe the best example I can give you. Well, so guess what? Your network is like that too. And in fact, what's cool about building a network is even if you did sell your business, you could still take that network to the next thing you do. And so I think people see this as like this old school thing that they're doing. You're like, oh, networking. It's this. I'm telling you, it is the asset that is the most valuable to build. I have some of the people, I could drop names. I'm not going to, doesn't matter. You would know them. Your people would know them. They reach out to me going, how do I grow my network? Because that is the asset I need to keep growing. And I teach them how to grow that asset. And so you don't have to go do that all on your own. You can join something like Master Networks, and there's already the framework to build on top of the asset we've already built. So again, I don't always do the best in explaining that, but I'm hoping that the light bulb goes off for people going, man, I've got all these little micro assets that I can build inside my business that are added as a multiplier. So that's what I would consider why you should do this.
Okay. Well, and as you were speaking, it kind of got me thinking about collaboration, which is not a word I've brought up when I've been talking about it, but really that's what it is. Because we hear so much about collaboration these days, but in a lot of ways, this is collaboration.
It's totally collaboration. And there's no reason in the world we live in today, anyone should build their business in isolation, right? You just can't. So get into networks, get into communities like this, like the Path to Mastery, like Master Networks. All these communities are important.
Hey, we got I think Jeff is here on Clubhouse. He may have a question. Jeff sometimes has spicy questions. He's a commercial broker out of New York, so we'll see. Wait,
what do you mean by spicy questions?
Yeah. Jeff, you there, man? Jeff. All right, maybe his mic's not working or something. Yeah. I don't know. Jeff, can you hear us? Yeah, I don't know. All right. Anyway, so it doesn't appear that his mic is working right now in Clubhouse. So, Jeff, just message me after then, and or if you want to drop it in the chat, I can also look at the chat and ask Chaz the question. Yeah. All right, Chaz. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time. I'm looking forward to growing this thing here locally. It's been super awesome. The people I've spoken with have either been like super excited, like, yeah, I want to do that, or like, no, I'm not that type of person. And, obviously everything in between. So it's been really positive.
Yeah. And that's okay. But think about that. Like what they're saying is, I don't have time to make the commitment to meet new people. That's the business we're all in. Like, that's literally the business we're all in, is meeting new people.
Yeah.
So it's not an extracurricular activity. It's what we're all need to be doing in business.
Well, I feel like for me, like I've been in my garage, not my garage, like I built a studio above my garage, and I feel like I've been in here for like 3 years since COVID. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are ready to kind of get out and do more of that. So
for sure, we're seeing it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, listen, appreciate you, my man. I'm going to wrap it up. And again, if anybody's interested in learning more about Master Networks, certainly reach out to me. And if you reach out to Chaz, you have questions, I'm Joe. If you mention my name, He'll know that it came from this podcast episode. Just mentioned Path to Mastery. And that said, we appreciate you, Chaz. Thank you again for your time and look forward to growing this thing with you, my man.
Yes, same honor, David. Thank you for the invite.